L is for the way you look, Oreo. O is for the onyx one.
No.
I see. V is very, very Venusaur. E is even more than every Eevee. How does the song go?
What?
That's loved before.
Every Eve that's loved before. It's love. It's the season of love. The season of loving. The season of loving each other. The season of loving Pokemon. And this is the very worst. I'm Matt Allcamp.
I wish you had run that by us before you just
Yeah.
started the podcast with
we
it.
were
I'm Pat
privy to
Reber.
this. I'm Ashley Stoneman.
Guys, aren't you full of love?
Not after that.
I am. I love my wife very much.
Ew.
If you're
Gross.
listening, baby, I love you. She doesn't listen.
Was that your Valentine's Day gift? I was like, oh fuck, she doesn't listen to this.
Isn't there...
It is now.
Is there anything more romantic than all of society gathering up together and deciding which day you have to show your significant other how much you love them, or else everybody on Earth judges you for how bad your relationship is,
Also,
or makes your significant other feel bad for how your relationship is?
Exactly. It has to be perfect, the perfect planned night, or your relationship is a failure.
I love Valentine's Day.
It's bullying.
I love it's well. I mean,
no.
it's. I guess it sucks if you don't have anybody. Although
No.
I went with plenty of single Valentine's Days and did just fine. I don't get why people complain about
Because it's a Hallmark holiday that
extra
capitalizes
holidays.
on
Yeah, but who
emotion.
cares? Who cares who invented the holiday?
My-
Are we trying to take down Hallmark? Like,
No,
it's just, they're making some money. We have a reason to celebrate. I get to go have a nice dinner and exchange gifts and
Capitalism.
Who cares?
My issue is, okay, Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever, right? These are community holidays. The reason they're important is we all gather together as a community and we all celebrate as a community. There's not one fucking person holding the ball. This is society all around you saying, you two have to have a good night together alone by yourselves in private, or you are going to be mad at each other tomorrow.
Wow. See, I thought Christmas was important because it signifies the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus
Arceus?
Christ.
What do you say?
I'm sorry, I thought Pat was going to say Arceus because this is a Pokemon podcast.
Have we even mentioned the name of the podcast yet? Did we do that at the beginning?
Hold on, yeah, let's start over from the beginning. L is for the way
No.
Cario.
No! I'm taking my
He said
headphones off.
L is for the way you Luke, and then there was a long pause, and I was just thinking, Luke?
Who's
Is
Luke?
Luke.
I had to figure out Pokemon that started with all the letters.
What I love is right before jumping into it, before we started recording, you were like, I have an idea. Okay, hold on.
It's the season of love. Everybody open up your little mailboxes you keep on your desk and see if any of the other kids in your class left you a picture of Spider-Man that says,
Webbed to my heart.
I web you.
Or I choose you.
But that, wait,
One of
why
those.
would Spider-Man say that?
Train facts.
You know the rules. Anytime you mention a train, it's train
Oh, is
facts
it-
time.
I
With
did
Ashley
not-
Stoneman.
I did not realize those were the rules.
Pat doesn't love his wife as much as Ashley loves trains. Train fact.
I would imagine that is entirely true. Oh, here's a train fact, actually.
Is that the fact?
There are some this is just a New York centric, but there are some new
New York
models.
State?
City.
10108.
Which is in New York State, right?
Stick.
Correct.
So you could say that you're talking about New York State.
Specifically New York City, because that's
my
where the
new
train.
thing. Instead of pretending I don't know anything about New York, I just tell people from New York that they're just from New York State.
Right. But I'm talking about the transit system within the city. So we're rolling out some new models of subway cars right now, or trains. in particular, the R173s, which are very new and shiny. And very soon in 2000, I want to say 20, they're rolling out the R211s, which are some of the most futuristic trains. You guys can look this up on Wikipedia if you'd like to. Most futuristic trains I've ever seen. It looks like a fucking spaceship.
I would love to look it up on Wikipedia and have Wikipedia say the most futuristic trains Ashley Stoneman's ever seen.
And there's a citation that it's this episode of the podcast.
Really quick, you guys Google the R211s, and they're super fucking cool, and they're gonna be rolling out in 2020 here in good old New York City.
All right, that's Googling it. While he's doing that, I'll just say, folks, if you're out there and you have the permissions to edit Wikipedia, please update the article for R211s.
Yeah, I think everyone has the permissions to update Wikipedia except for convicted felons and illegal immigrants.
I want to make sure I got the. I think they are the R179s, but I'll make sure I'm not getting that number correct.
This week we watched Arceus and the Jewel of Life.
I wasn't done. Oh, R79s. I'm so sorry. R179s, guys, not the R173s. My bad. I wasn't done talking about trains.
Still right about R211s though, right?
I'm still right about the R211s.
I looked up the R211s and they look like
the monorail at Disney World.
I thought they looked like Eva from WALL-E.
Oh.
Eva.
Or like if
that
Apple
movie sucked.
If Apple. What? Are you kidding me?
Did you say WALL-E sucked?
Yeah, let's move
you wanna
on.
Fucking,
Pat's got a bad opinion.
No, you want to fucking throw, Pat? Is that what you want?
Pat's feeling froggy today.
I am feeling a bit froggy. Don't challenge me to a boxing match.
We'll have to revisit this on a future episode. We watched Arceus and the Jewel of Life this week.
That movie sucked too.
Yeah. It was really bad. It was really bad.
This one was the worst that we've watched in a while.
Yeah, this was insane. They made some choices.
This one deals with time travel, which we haven't seen since they did it very well in Celebi's Nasty Nest.
Yeah.
They did?
I would say they mishandle it here.
Some would say that they've made a few mistakes.
And I don't want to be like, look, I get that sometimes movies use time travel and there's going to be logical inconsistencies, but if you're suspending disbelief, like you can follow along with it and just accept that this isn't possible anyway and you're just enjoying the ride. But they make it so hard to do that in this movie. They defy any logic that you could right. use to try to justify time travel.
What they do is they try and justify it at a point, and that's when it falls the fuck apart, right? Is that at some point they try to be like, well, because you went back into the past, this stuff changed. And it makes this makes the least sense out of any time travel thing I've ever ingested, and I am a lifelong X-Men fan. And this one was also just fucking boring.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get rolling. We're going to talk about the plot. If you've never listened before, what we do is we talk about what happened in the movie we're talking about. And it's not going to seem as boring as it was because the first 5 minutes of what we talk about is going to take up the first half of the actual movie length.
Right. And then the last hour of the movie will take 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Ashley?
Are you eating something?
I'm not gonna lie, I got lost looking at pictures of trains.
You went down a train hole.
You went down a little train
yes.
hole.
Image train.
Yes.
Now you've mentioned trains again,
I'm so
you have
sorry.
to give us a new train fact.
Oh no!
Better hurry up.
Well,
with it,
I mean, great, because that's exactly what I was doing anyway. So the R211s are replacing the remaining R33s, which are on the C and A lines right now, and they looked fucking cool, man. The old ones, even though they're decrepit and should be tossed away.
It's the quintessential subway car.
It's the ones. It's probably the ones you think about when you think of the subway in New York City. The R33s or like the R44s or R42s. Those are probably the ones that, like, when you think about traveling in New York City, Those are the ones that come to mind. It's the R32 were the ones like the A train that run on the Fulton line. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Don't get more listeners.
This has been R211 Facts with Ashley Stoneman. We need a new sound clip for that one.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This movie was rank and it was Taurus.
All right. So it starts out with a real, like, your standard bombastic Pokemon intro. Pokemon are dazzling and awe-inspiring, and numbers too numerous to count.
This guy's getting loopy. This
guy, something is up with this narrator.
He has also watched every Pokemon movie so far, so I don't blame him for losing his mind a little bit. But Jesus Christ, so he just starts using arbitrary words to describe Pokemon, which is pretty standard.
Yeah.
He's stretching his vocabulary on this one, but then he starts talking about the number of Pokemon again, and I don't know what his obsession over there being too many Pokemon to count is. But he
keeps guessing at numbers. He's like, there's too many to count.
It's
like
so
the grains of sand on your favorite beach.
Too many to count. At least 50. He's
like, there's like he
says. But when he's talking about how many different Pokemon there are, he says that there are numbers that are virtually too massive to even begin to count.
100?
Thousands is more like it.
Sounds like you began to count, sir.
It's hundreds or more likely thousands, which means it's in the low thousands. If that's questionable.
Even thousands of these things. I couldn't possibly count if I had my whole life ahead of me. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe he doesn't have his maybe this guy's declining in health. He's old.
Oh, no.
He's declining in health. He doesn't have time to count all these Pokemon, but all he knows is that the only thing that brings him comfort on his deathbed as he sinks further and further into delusion.
At least I can keep counting Pokemon until I die. I'll never reach the
dazzling.
end.
They're awe-inspiring. They bring joy to all people. They're on fire and 7 of them. Like, he just starts saying words because he forgets what words mean.
Okay, and then it's about 45 minutes of exposition.
They recap everything that happened in the last 2 movies. Space and time banged into each other, and then they fought, and then the Upside Down got involved, and Giratina got mad, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then they told us that this was all happening around the center of the universe, which is controlled by a Pokemon.
Yeah, we've already seen several types of god Pokemon, and this one's better.
This one's God.
Still a god Pokemon, but yeah, the superior god, the higher tier god.
Right, like Dialga's the god of time. Palkia is the god of space. Giratina is the god of the reverse world.
Yeah.
And Arceus is the thing who created all of creation.
Man.
God is a What if God was a Pokemon?
Right, I think you've hit your cap for
this movie seeks to answer that question. And if what you think, what if God was a Pokemon? Would it be a person? Would it be a weird horse thing surrounded by shields with a cartoon villain voice who's pathologically obsessed with the concept of justice? Then you're right, because that's what we got here.
These are some old school gods. I can respect that. There is in the introduction, at the end of the introduction, they end up the announcer saying some wacky bullshit, and
right.
They start panning out on Brock and Ash and Dawn and all of their Pokemon. And there's a good moment where Pseudo Wudo,
yeah,
damn it,
he's doing that dance where he has both his hands at his hips and he's just like fanning his hands back and forth. I'm doing the dance for Matt right now, but nobody
stop.
else.
Turn the camera on.
But like he's standing, I would say, facing you. His hands are, what is this, parallel to his body, down at one hip, and he's just kind of like fanning him back and forth. It's a good moment. If you really want to see the dance, go to the end of the introduction and whatever the hell this movie was.
We'll
called.
post a video.
Yeah. Please, audience, search this movie out.
We'll post a video of Pat doing the dance on Twitter.
Oh, please.
Perfect.
That'll be for all of us, including myself.
Pat writing Pat doing dance on Twitter so we don't forget after we're done recording this episode.
Let's hope we remember what that means.
I have a feeling this is going to turn out the way the word podcast ended up on your wall.
This is one of those episodes. So Arceus talks like this. He goes, human beings must be brought to justice.
Yeah, that's exactly. He sounds like a Batman villain.
Yeah. We see this Pokemon at the center of the universe. He flashes back to asking somebody for something called the Jewel of Life, and then them not giving it to him, and him getting really angry.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, by suddenly I mean 5 minutes into the movie, we cut to our gang, Ash, Dawn, and Brock.
Hang on, before we get to them, because they're doing something funny right off the bat. But just, I feel like there's 3 different paths a Pokemon movie can go down. I think those are the total number of plots that they write.
Okay.
Introducing the Jewel of Life this early in the movie really forces you down, I think, a specific path. This is going to be one about a mythical or legendary or deity Pokemon trying to obtain this special Oracle. Not Oracle. What's the word I'm looking for?
Object. Artifact.
No, I'm going to go with object.
Okay. The word you were looking for was object when you reached out and found Oracle.
Yeah, it's just I got a pretty wide vocabulary, so sometimes it takes a while to find the simple words.
So while you're leafing through the O's, you might just stop a little shy and
my vocabulary is so large is because I constantly have a dictionary open.
There's the legendary Pokemon looking for a special object. There's legendary Pokemon needs to get to a garden that brings life to the world.
Yeah.
And there is
a Pokemon. Actually, I guess this covers 2 because there's the Pokemon just hates people and wants to kill them.
And Ash needs to win its heart over.
Yeah.
So we cut to our gang, Ash, Dawn, and Brock. And guys,
I keep calling Dawn Replacement May in my head every time I see her. I'm like, it's that, it's Replacement May,
I was going to say, I am not warming up to Dawn. Like,
not at all.
I realized, like, as she popped up in this movie, I realized I think I defended her in previous episodes, but, like, I don't have any affection for this character at all.
Yeah. They just don't give her much to do in these movies. Like, she's used more for exposition than anything, even more so than Brock. Somebody sees Ash taking an action, and that person is like, why is Ash doing that? And then Dawn explains why, and now the audience knows. Like, that's what she's there for.
She seems like May without Max. May was great.
I miss Max. Can I say that?
Yeah,
can I say that honestly? I honestly miss Max. If we have to pick between Brock and Max being there, can we just
Max?
Why?
Can you imagine how horny Max would have been for all this time and space nerd shit?
Yeah, he would have been logging all of it.
He would have lost his little bespectacled mind.
He very well may have died. He was like 6 years old.
That's true. If you had to dreamcast this, it'd have to be Ash, you have to have Ash, right? He's the only one that's going to tackle a man or a Pokemon at the end.
Yeah.
And then you'd have Misty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Max.
Misty's just smart. Yeah.
And
actually, just pull Brock out, right?
pull Brock out.
Why is Brock there? Guys, he adds nothing to any
Well-
of the movies anymore, except for being horny. That's literally all that he
He's
adds
horny,
now.
and they've created a new Brock thing because I guess at some point they realized, well, his only trait can't be horny. So now he's got a book that he reads from that makes him an expert on all things.
Yeah.
When they get to a town, he's like, in my guidebook, it says that Machina Town was once a beautiful verdant land, and now it's a ruin. Or like, my guidebook says that this woman is the greatest stunt woman of all time. Like you did in that, that's the new Brock, and it sucks. It's boring. I would rather have give me Max.
Yeah. Just replace him.
So they're walking through a cornfield.
They're I don't mean to stop you this soon, but yeah, they're just walking through somebody's cornfield. I don't know how they ended up here. Maybe they got in a corn maze and got lost enough to start crossing boundaries, but
when they get to the end of the cornfield, it pans out, and there are clearly paths around the cornfield.
Was it so they're not in a maze? That's what it seemed like to me. Like as soon as I was like, okay, so we're in a corn maze now. That's that's how it opens up.
Yeah, I know. They walked up to a cornfield. They saw it would take 13 seconds to walk to one end of the cornfield and go around it, and they decided, nah, let's go straight
to get to the river that runs behind the cornfield too.
So that we can go swimming again.
Like they have to walk over to get to the bridge to cross the river.
Right, because they didn't take the path, so they end up not at the bridge. Yeah. But, it gives them time to go swimming like they fucking love to do whenever anything is happening.
Anything important's happening. They're like, you guys for the most part?
Just want to go swim. Yeah, we know that they just came from watching two gods fight.
Yeah!
Twice.
Everyone nearly died.
And they're like,
the entire world was almost destroyed.
Let's go swimming!
They're also, I think they're also very hungry. I think they are, they haven't eaten in a few days because they're ramblers.
Yeah, so we know that this is actually like a direct sequel. I have a question really quickly also. Is this a direct-to-TV movie? No, this was a
direct-to-video movie.
A pirated version
okay.
that was taped off of television.
Okay.
No, come on.
Well, I was kind of upset that we didn't watch Jumanji instead.
We just all found on our. We just happened to catch on TV the Pokemon movie that we had next, and we all watched it on TV. That's all that happened. There's no pirating involved. So they're swimming in the water. And here's the thing I wrote, and it sucks that I had to write this down, but I wrote it down. They don't put Dawn in like a skimpy bathing suit and pan up her legs to her face.
Oh yeah, that's true. Like they did with May.
She's just and Misty, she's just in a big in a one-piece bathing suit, a tasteful one-piece bathing suit, and they don't focus on it, and it's upsetting that I had to think of that and write down a note about it. Like, oh, good. Good they stopped doing that.
They are showing the hell out of Ash and Brock snips, though. They are shirtless and just standing on this aside the water, puffing their chests out.
There's like a glowing animation that happens around their nipples. So they're swimming around in the little river, and then the little Pokemon are swimming around too, and then a bunch of little watermelon float by.
What? This is insane! Here's watermelon. This is such such a boring thing to happen.
They're like oh, cool.
It's, I guess, not weird, but abnormal enough to say, oh, I guess this is going to go somewhere, but it is in no way interesting enough to make me ask, where is this going?
Where are these watermelons coming from? And yeah, and then some people run up and they're like, hey, those are our watermelons. And they say, we were cooling them down in the river and they floated away.
What?
Is that what you do with
what
watermelons?
Are you
You cool them down in the river?
Yeah, maybe that's a real thing. I wrote it down and I was like, I guess this could work. You just they put like 4 watermelons in a net and tie that net to the bank and dip the watermelons in the water and I guess just let the river.
Yeah. Please let us know if we're just like uneducated about how watermelon harvesting goes. But I can't imagine watermelons are so hot that you have to cool them down in a river. Ooh, this watermelon. It's too hot.
Okay, so also, guys, watermelon I'm not sure if everyone's aware of this. 80% water. I'm pretty sure that getting too hot under the sun isn't exactly something they're known for.
Right.
Now, is that why they call them watermelons?
These guys run up and they're like, those are our watermelons. And Ash and the gang are like, oh, sorry, we didn't know. And they're like, well, I guess you can have them if you battle us for them. And Ash says, I guess that's only fair. What?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
You drive a hard bargain, sir. But
These things just... First of all, you have no claim to these fucking things because you lost them in the river. But second of all, if you believe you own those watermelons, that's like saying... That's like... All right. If I have a bunch of apples sitting out drying in the sun on my back porch or some other dumb shit that you don't actually do with fruit, and a guy runs up and grabs them, I'm not like, all right, you can have those if you fight me for them and then put my fists up. That guy wouldn't be like, yeah, that's fair. He'd be like, oh, I'm sorry for stealing your apples.
Well, it works here. Everybody agrees, and you know, Ash was really smarmy about it because he's like, oh, these guys have no. He does this. Yeah, fuck that guy, man. That's the point that I was getting to. Is Ash is as annoying as any 15-year-old boy that I've ever had to deal with.
So there's a bad song that plays like always.
Oh my God,
it's really bad, guys.
Yeah, this is.
It's real bad.
I thought of this one as
it's not a fun time.
This is not the worst that we've ever had.
Is it? The last one was pretty bad. The one you guys had.
Yeah. That was really bad. I think this one is. I mean, I don't want to say improvement, but it's definitely not as bad as that one is. It feels like if you took all the Katy Perry songs and fed them into a computer and turned it into an algorithm to make a Katy Perry song, it would come out with this.
With this song, and then you just have to shout Pokemon every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you would have yeah.
That's the other thing that drove me nuts about this song is the song is just about like inspiration and facing the odds with your friends. It doesn't need to be a Pokemon specific song, except at the end of every chorus, they just go, Pokemon!
So during it, there's a Pokemon battle, obviously. Ash and his homies win, obviously. And then they get the watermelon. But they share it with the blue hairs. The two blue-haired people who were like, those are our watermelons.
It is like 8 fucking watermelons. If they won that battle and were like, give us all of your watermelons, the 3 of us are going to eat all of these.
They would, yeah. The rest of the movie would take place in a Machina town bathroom. the blue hairs then take them up to see. They're like, oh, there's these cool ruins at the top of this mountain. Come see. And they get up there. And Brock, who's apparently now a big Deepak Chopra fan, gets to these ruins and he's like, I feel positive energy flowing through this place. Then I just realized this is never explained. A tornado appears. We see some like cosmic shit and a tornado appears and starts threatening our heroes. And Ash's response to this weird tornado just appearing out of thin air is to tell his Pikachu to attack it with a thunderbolt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then Pikachu picks up the other Pokemon and starts shooting bubbles at it?
Yeah, the other Pokemon start shooting...
He's a very weird series of events where they're fighting a water spout, a tornado that's gone over this lake and collected water. They're just Pokemon battling.
Happens out of nowhere, and they start fighting it, and it doesn't stop getting weird there because two weirdos just run in out of nowhere, and they're like a thunder creature and a creature master, and we don't get any explanation for that. And then a hole to space opens up, and a bunch more water tornadoes suck Pikachu and Piplup up, the one who was shooting the little penguin guy who was shooting the water. And the weirdos run in, and they're like, let us summon Dialga. Dialga, come help everybody. And like there's this lady, and she's clearly doing something psychic, I guess.
Yeah.
And Dialga, who we are... intimately familiar with at this point.
The god of time
shows up to save two Pokemon from being sucked up into a tornado.
What a waste of the power of this god.
Okay, so how much time has actually taken place since the last movie? Which is when we last saw these guys, right?
We have no idea.
So it's like, this could have been the next day. And they'd be like, oh, fuck! Again!
We can't get rid of this guy.
He's like the Kramer of Pokemon now. Whatever they're doing, Dialga just burst in and he's like, hey guys, what's going on in here? What would Kramer do? He would burst in and he would shout like, I've got a good idea for a hat.
Yeah, that was actually his catchphrase. His catchphrase was, I have a good idea for a hat.
Remember when Kramer would always run in and he'd be like, hey everybody.
His iconic, and the crowd goes wild.
I'm Kramer. I have a great idea for a hat.
They have to take like a 10-second complete pause because the audience won't calm down.
Tell us about your hat!
Woo! Ow!
So, Dialga's...
Just imagine George Costanza getting super jealous because Kramer has all the good ideas for hats. Another hat.
He's always getting hats, Jerry. He's always.
What's the deal with these hats? Every episode.
Great show. It's just...
Okay, quick anecdote. Did you guys know that in every episode of getting coffee in cars with comedians or whatever the fuck that thing's called? What is it called? Comedians getting coffee in cars?
Coffee in
some
cars.
Arrangement of those words.
Getting coffee with cars in a comedian.
Did you know Jerry Seinfeld mentions bees and or a bee movie in literally all of it? And like in every episode.
He's so proud of that thing. Almost as proud as Kramer is of his hats.
I would probably do that if I had a nationally broadcast television show. I'd probably talk about bees a lot.
It's just really weird, though. He says it really offhandedly.
So,
like, that's what I like about bees, They all have a job. They all just do their job.
I hate these people without jobs.
Do you think maybe he did some real, method research for Bee Movie?
Do you think
so now he just has this intimate knowledge of how bees work?
Do you think he's got this, Ayn Randian, like libertarian, like uber libertarian philosophy about bees. Like, if everybody just works and takes care of it.
I kind of, guys, I wouldn't doubt it. Like, it would not faze me one bit if that were true.
Anyway, so Dialga saves 2 Pokemon. And then Giratina shows up and is like, hey, I'm still fighting you, man.
Yeah, what is I thought we resolved this.
Right? And even Ash says, like, they're still fighting?
Yeah.
So there's the 2 blue hair, or no, these aren't the blue hairs. These are the new ones.
Yeah.
The blue hairs just disappear for the rest of the movie.
They got lost in the ruins, I'm assuming.
Yeah, they fell to their deaths and no one paid attention. So the weirdos, the new weirdos, show up and they tell the gang to get away because it's too dangerous. And they say, right! And they keep standing there. They're like, get out of here! This is too dangerous for you! And Ash goes, right! And then just doesn't move.
Yeah, they keep watching.
And I don't know why, at this point, they've spent so much time with Dialga. Why aren't they just like, hey, it's cool, we're friends with that guy.
Yeah, we know this guy.
Hey! Yo!
Dialga!
What's up, bruh? But then one of the weirdos... Yeah.
Sorry, they are that familiar with Tina, with Giratina. Ash is just like, what are you doing? Don't you remember?
Chill, man!
Like he just starts shouting, Giratina! You're not angry anymore! Just shouting at him as he flies around the sky.
Remember? We had a whole movie about it! And then one of the weirdos casts like a spell, but gets flown back because Giratina's in a rage, but then Ash settles Giratina down, then Dialga flies away.
Dialga just backs out like,
ooh,
this is a good time for me to...
Weird. Don't call me. I'll call you. The weirdo then casts another spell again and tells Giratina, hey man, don't battle. This was a weird thing.
Why are you mad, bro?
Please don't battle. You're mad? Please don't battle. Listen, if I've got one piece of advice to give to you, it's just don't battle anymore.
Life's too short.
Life's too short.
Stop battling.
Please. You know how every now and then it'll just like this is like a parent with a child. How every now and then a child just gets unruly and starts battling.
I challenge you.
Jimmy, what have I told you? Please don't battle. I don't know what to do, Grace. Every time we go out, I tell him don't battle, and he just keeps battling everything.
He'll grow out of it. You can't rush these. It's just a part of growing up. It's learning not to battle.
Do your kids do that? They just battle all the time?
You know what? They went through that phase like 3 years ago or so. It was a nightmare. Their principal was calling over.
He's been kicked out of 3 kindergartens because all he'll do all day is battle.
You know, my kids were doing this for a while. We got him a trainer.
Oh, how is that working out?
It's good. They still battle, but only when they're told to.
Oh, that's good.
So the weirdo says, my name is Sheena.
Sheena.
And I'm the guardian of the ruin. And the other weirdo goes, me too, my name's Kevin.
Yeah, I'm also an ancient guardian of the ruins. I'm Kevin.
Kevin. Thanks, Kevin. We told you not to speak in this one. So
Sheena is punk rocker. Sorry, Sheena is the name of one of my first high school girlfriends. Like when kids really started making out, she was the girlfriend that I learned it with.
Oh my god! So you made out with a Sheena?
Yeah. She
connected with your mind, except for when you were in a rage, and then she couldn't connect with your tongue?
No, it's different Sheena.
Oh, okay.
She spelled it like Sheena, but she pronounced it Sheena. I don't know if you can pick up the nuance there.
This girl sounds like
with
too
this
much.
Piece of shit microphone, but
I paid a lot for these.
You reconnect with Sheena lately?
No,
He's been in too much of a rage. She can't make it in.
Man, she's gonna be pissed when she hears this, and you haven't talked to her, called her in 20 years?
Guys, listen, if this podcast somehow makes it to her and she listens to it, it's because we're doing much better, and I am not worried about the
you never know.
effect.
Hey, Sheena.
Sheena?
If you're
I told you,
Tina?
she pronounces it Shayna.
Hey,
Hey,
Shayna.
Shayna.
Hey, Shiana.
Hey, Shauna, if you're listening, will you please just reach out to Pat Reber?
He hasn't made out in
Patrick.
20 years.
It's
He
been a
needs it.
I'm married.
No, I
I
know.
made
but
out
still, man.
on the altar with my wife when we got married.
You made out on
like-
the altar? That's
yeah.
a little.
Yeah,
That's
you gotta
how-
chill, man.
that's how
You
people-
you guys gotta
That's how
tone
people
that.
get married.
Well, they're like, stop.
I just made
Stop.
out with her
All
this
right.
morning when I dropped her. You know what?
Stop.
I'm gonna stop.
All right.
I'm talking about someone who
The priest is
doesn't-
like,
Will
just
listen.
stop. All right,
Hey,
I'm
Rachel,
leaving.
if you hear this.
Just connect with Pat. You guys don't have. It doesn't have to all be making out and.
I actually, a few years back, I Facebook friended her because she was a high school girlfriend.
Your wife?
And
Your
no,
wife, Rachel?
well, I
Oh.
mean, yes, a few years back, I also Facebook friended my wife, but Facebook friended Shayna.
Shauna?
Shiana.
And
Shuyana.
she accepted the friend request, but then was not thrilled about it, and eventually,
Wait,
very
what?
soon after, unfriended me.
She wasn't thrilled about it. Did she make that
Oh.
clear to you?
Wait,
Yeah,
hold on.
what-
She sent you a message like, "What are you doing?"
No, we had a brief conversation of just like, hey, it's been a long time. How are you? What are you doing?
Was the
and-
makeout good for you? It was good for me.
Yeah, I said that, and then I don't know why she didn't want to talk to me anymore.
Weird.
She said, "So
All right, let's get.
I need more
I
information
shouldn't have
about
brought
this.
this up, and I feel like we should move on.
No, I need bit more of information.
Okay.
How did she communicate that she wasn't happy about it?
No, she was just. We had a conversation, and she
Deets, Pat,
spent plenty of
deets.
time telling me what she was up to, and then when I went on to what I was up to, the conversation became very short, and then
Was she
it
upset that
like-
you were married?
like a month later, she unfriended me.
Oh, Shianya.
Oh, Shauna. Poor
It's-
Shauna.
No, it's fine.
Shianya.
I'm really-
I broke up with
Are
her
you-
very unceremoniously, so
she
she doesn't have.
Are you
any
okay,
reason to,
Pat? Are
You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing. I'm married now, so that
It's
helps
okay.
a lot.
You don't
I
have
know,
to
but
hide.
It's
from
yeah,
us.
no, it takes time. It's okay.
It's okay.
Okay, can we? You know what I want to talk about is Pokemon movies. I love discussing Pokemon movies.
Is that sweat on your brow? Ash says to either he says to somebody, "Thanks for saving my body," but it sounds like he says, "Thanks for saving my body," and I laughed a lot. The first time I watched this, I thought he said, "Thanks for saving my body." What if somebody said that? What if you were like an EMT?
Thanks for saving my body. What did he actually say?
Ew.
What were his actual words?
Thanks for saving my buddy.
Oh.
We do get a fun bit out of Team Rocket here. Team Rocket shows up, and they have a direct influence on the plot. Sort of. There's sort of a red herring, I guess, for the plot in this movie. But at this moment, they notice that there is a person that can control very powerful Pokemon, and they are like, "Oh, this actually makes perfect sense for us. We're always trying to control powerful Pokemon. So why don't we just..." So they don't really get into the details, but I'm assuming their plan was to kidnap this lady and force her to do their bidding. But
That's not the only person who has a plan to kidnap and use this. But go ahead.
So, they observe Sheena using her heart-to-heart powers to chat with Pokemon, and Jessie tries to figure out if she's also got this power by just staring at Meowth really hard. And they eventually go into some dumb gag and it ruins it. But there's just this moment where she is trying her hardest to be psychic, and the animation of it's really good.
So Sheena grabs Pikachu by the face and says, "Ooh, an electric creature." And then she tells them that, there's some prophecy about she tells Ash he's the chosen one. Ash is the chosen one.
Yeah. It just happens.
And it's fate. And then Brock starts saying that he also has a destiny, and he was fated to be here, and he was fated to meet her, and he was fated to be in love with her, and she was fated to kiss him and fated to stroke him.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad someone said it.
Man, it's been a few weeks since we've watched a Pokemon movie, and this is foolish on my part. I had forgotten.
Right?
I was not prepared for this.
You saw Brock and you're like, oh, my old friend.
Oh yeah, Brock. And that's the problem, is we're all too quick to forget this sort of behavior. But
he meets a woman, drops to his knees,
and asks her,
yells at her to stroke him.
Yeah. Some strong sexual suggestions. I wasn't expecting it, and I was upset.
But this is the good thing about Brock.
Is that he's trained a Pokemon to...
Here's how stupid he is. Is he closes his eyes and he goes to grab a woman's hand and grabs his own Pokemon's hand, who he must have taken out of its Pokeball. And then forgot about. And didn't realize when he grabbed it that it wasn't a woman's hand, it was a slimy frog hand.
This is also the Pokemon that he is trained to hit him with a poison dart attack anytime he starts coming on to a woman who is clearly standing right next to the woman he's coming on to.
Krogunk it's Krogunk. Poisons him.
Zaps him in the dick this time. Like in the past, it's just been the back of the leg or wherever he is, but Brock is down on his knees and he takes a direct shot just...
right to the dick. It almost makes the Brock thing better. Seeing him getting stung by his own Pokemon and poisoned and drug off the screen almost makes it better that Brock is a predator.
Yeah, at least he's paying a price for it now. Doesn't learn though.
We get another space portal, more tornadoes. Palkia shows up.
God, just portals over and
just
over
portals.
Again. I've had enough.
They closed the portal together, I guess, after filming 3 movies together, hanging around craft services and whatever. Palkia and Dialga made friends. They closed.
I heard they're friends in real life too.
Do you know they tested 19 Palkias before they could find one that had that sort of chemistry with that Dialga?
I heard one of them was Adam Driver.
Sheena connects to their hearts, or she casts another spell and connects to their hearts, whatever the fuck that means. They go back to their own dimensions. Movie over! The end! It's the end! She sent Palkia and Dialga back to their own dimensions, and everything's fixed. 3 movies resolved.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Man.
It does seem like the end of the movie, and I was actually like, wow, this was a short one.
Except for
we forgot about the Jewel of Life.
Oh yeah, there's a Jewel of Life, and there's a Batman villain that looks like a time horse. And they walk through the ruins. There's all these strange machines everywhere. There's the space-time axis, which is this old steampunk machine that keeps track of all of time. Basically, they say, these are the machines we used to watch your last 2 movies, and so we can sum up everything that happened in them.
Would you say that this is like their lab?
It's kind of lab-like.
Would you say that these ruins were like some sort of temple. Maybe it's a castle.
Yeah, they kind of appear like a castle.
Have you ever seen a lab in a castle?
Not to my knowledge, but I'll keep an eye out in the
Never.
future. That is pretty amazing.
I wasn't keeping track of how many labs we see in castles before somebody said that in a prior movie. I don't remember which movie it was, but
that was the Ranger movie.
Since...
The Ranger movie was the first one where we mentioned the lab in the castle.
Ever since we only ever see labs in castles.
Yeah. This lab kind of sucks, though. It's all steampunk equipment.
Dumb.
It was weird.
It's mostly made of stained glass.
Listen, the last guy, he had a computer that made his own girlfriend.
They list all the dimensions. Giratina, all the dimensions. Space, time, our world, Giratina's reversed world.
And
Arceus.
The Pokemon that is a parallel universe.
I know. Apparently he creates all time and space in all worlds, and he's God, and he's the goddest God, and he's he's the All-Father, he's the one referenced in the Bible, and the Torah, and the Quran, and
he's been sleeping.
He's so sleepy.
So this is why we're seeing all these tornadoes and portals pop up everywhere.
This is also why Palkia and Dialga got into a fight.
Yeah. Arceus is waking up, and he's, I guess, a very sound sleeper. So when he starts waking up, all of reality is thrown off. Time and space are pushed too close together, and
it's basically a hypnic jerk.
Yeah.
Universal hypnic jerk. And then, meanwhile, in the center of the universe, Arceus is waking up. And this is the whole movie. Is Sheena will tell us some long story, and then the directors of the movie, Arceus and the Jewel of Life, will make us watch it later.
She will, and it's not even like they... See, I think a pretty common device in film is to just have it play out as you're explaining what happens.
But these guys, they're into like this avant-garde cinema, this breaking, cutting-edge animation where you explain it and then you show it, so it takes up twice the amount of time.
We get a bunch of two shots of people just listening to one person talk, just reactions to someone telling ancient lore.
Where we could have been watching something interesting like the thing actually happening, which we'll see later.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But instead we just see Ash going, oh.
This is breaking every improv rule, guys. If you mention something off stage, you gotta show it later.
It's not even show don't, it's like
show don't tell.
It's not show don't tell. It's not show and tell. It's like show now, let's tell later. Or tell now, let's show later. Arceus is obsessed with justice, we find out. Again, we already knew this, but
justice!
I will bring all humans to justice. I'm a Pokemon.
So this is essentially what every legendary Pokemon is. They just hate humans. Literally, so every single legendary Pokemon just wants to kill human beings. They're all evil.
They meet Ash Ketchum.
Until they meet a very special little boy
who punch and wear dumb hat. Ash, I have never seen a human punch like this, or wear a hat like you. I guess humanity is worth saving after all. So, they have these magical... okay. Dawn gets mad that Arceus is into justice. Dawn hates justice. She is a horrible human being. So the weirdos, Sheena and Kevin, they have these magical moving stained glass windows that tell the story of Arceus. He had a bunch of life plates surrounding him.
Picture them as power-ups.
Yeah,
that is the exact description.
You know when you're playing a Nintendo game and you're like collect a thing that powers up your character, but the graphics are kind of bad, so you can't tell what it is. It's just kind of like vaguely shaped like a shield or something.
And this protects you from fire attacks.
Yeah, that's what he's got. And they surround him, and he uses them to... We find out this whole story. He uses them to save everyone in Machina Town or whatever from meteors.
Right. The cards protect against every attack, including moon-sized meteor attack.
And he stopped the meteors, lost a few. This man named Damos saved him by bringing his plates back. And then Arceus took some of the plates, water, grass, ground, electricity, and on top of that, dragon.
Right.
Like, you know, the 5 basic elements of existence.
You guys know how everything in the world is made out of... Basically, it's like ground. So with your ground, you have brick, you have iron, you have mud, you have dirt, you have cement, right?
Sure.
Rock. With water, you have the building block of all life. With grass, you have all... Basically, you can think of that as all plants, right? Like, all plants. And all plant life, all... The basic foundation of all life in the universe. Water, plants, ground. Electricity comes from the sky, creates fire, creates energy.
Energy generally is an elemental
Creates
thing.
Weather.
Yeah.
Electricity creates weather. And then on top of that, dragon.
Dragon. For obsidian, I think.
To get the Drake sword. Anyway, he combined them into the Jewel of Life and gave it to this dude named Damos. Damos turned Machina Town into a paradise using the Jewel of Life, and then
they had reached an agreement. He and Arceus had reached an agreement where Damos was just borrowing the Jewel of Life so that he could help his town flourish, because I guess that's what this thing does. And would return it at the next solar eclipse, the next full solar eclipse.
But instead, he turned on him and attacked him with like 100 Pokemon. And never gave the jewel back. And Arceus got so angry, he smashed a shrine. And it took so much energy out of him to smash that shrine, he slept forever.
How long has it been?
What time period?
I think it's 1,000
years.
years.
1,000 years.
Okay.
Okay.
For 1,000 years.
Yeah. How is Arceus dangerous if after smashing one shrine, he has to sleep for 1,000 years?
So he does.
That's what he does.
For 1,000 years. And
he does.
We're just waiting for him to come back.
Cool. I guess we know that story now, so no one has to tell it to us again or show it to us again.
Yeah.
Not one time, not 2 times, not 4 times.
We also don't need a complete recap of him betraying him and reiterating who betrayed him and why.
No, so they probably won't, right? Because they know how to tell a story. They're not going to tell us the same story 3 times, 4 times in a movie.
Unless, I hear what you guys are saying, but unless it's in the context of a flashback during a time travel.
Right, but surely
if they go way into the past and then that 1,000 years in the past
it's
where they
not
travel
quite
to
in the past enough.
But
one person is like, oh, here's what happened a few years ago, and then retells the story that way. I think that would be a solid narrative track.
Surely that wouldn't happen several times, though. One good flashback would be enough, right?
Yeah, I don't think any of this is going to happen. That's just too weird for even a Pokemon movie.
Well, unless I would say they perform a secondary time travel where they go back about an hour from the period 1,000 years ago they traveled to, and then they want to tell the story again. I think if you just keep going back in time and then flashing back from that further point back in time, that's a clean story. That's Back to the Future, you know?
I just don't think this is going to happen. I mean, how could there be both time travel and flashbacks and the same story told 4 times in the same movie?
Well, I don't know, Matt, but if it happens, I would say it's a work of art.
So, Team Rocket decide they want to steal the jewel. The weirdos decide they want to return the jewel. And then somebody says Arceus is coming. Guys, can I talk about Arceus for a second?
Sure.
So again, he's like a bejeweled time horse.
Yeah, he looks like if you see somebody's coat of arms and there's like an animal in the center of it and then a crazy design behind that animal. This is that animal with the crazy design. Like,
and his name is Arceus. Do you think this was just like... Okay, do you think this is one of the Pokemon designers was like being bothered by their like anime-obsessed 9-year-old kid? Daddy, I want to design a Pokemon. Let me design a Pokemon. No, Jeff, you're not going to design a Pokemon. Let me design a Pokemon. I can come up with a cool Pokemon. All right, fine. You can design one Pokemon. Okay, this one, he's like a horse, but he's got a golden shroud around. He's got a golden armor, and he's got cool computer eyes, and he has a bunch of shields that protect him from every attack, and they float around him all the time, and his name is, what would be cool? Arceus. And he's God, and he does everything, and he can do everything, and he has every power.
And he's God, and remember those gods you designed for the other movies? He's bigger than them.
And he's made of gold. And then they're like, guys, I promised my kid. I promised him we would do this Pokemon.
But okay.
Yeah, it's not like anybody looked at that concept and was like, oh no, this is too out there for a Pokemon movie.
God, it's exactly how a kid. This is reminiscent of when you guys didn't grow up this way, but I grew up in a really religious community, and super religious, and all of my friends would play. I'm not sure if you guys ever played rock, paper, scissors, anything, where you could create your own whatever.
Oh,
and
no.
So we would say rock, paper, scissors, shoot, but then we do rock, paper, scissors, anything. Some kids would be like, I'm fire, and some kid would be like, I can turn everything to ice or whatever. And sure enough, there would be one fucking asshole kid that'd be like, I'm God.
I am Jesus's forgiveness.
No, he'd be like, I'm God. And be like, God, you can't. No one can be God anymore, okay? We had to literally say, you guys, you can't be God. So we have to, something of the physical realm, you can't be God. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm God. So I beat everything. What are you gonna get? Are you anti-God? What are you?
I feel like fire's a bad bet in that game because that would really only take care of paper. Right?
It could melt scissors.
Yeah, scissors survives fire. Rock survives fire.
Yeah, rock's just fine.
Depends how hot the fire is.
Well, okay, so what would be your rock, paper, scissors, anything? Rock, paper, scissors, anything, shoot.
Love.
Well, fuck you.
Hope. I read Sandman, guys. It's hope. It's hope. That's the one that beats everything. It's hope. I read Sandman.
I'm gonna go with a hammer. Maybe a
fuck.
chisel.
Hammer beats hope.
So once in a while, a kid would be like, I'm knife, and just stab everybody.
He pulls out an actual knife.
Anyway.
Good luck using that paper.
Mine is opiate addiction. Guys, it's a real problem here in the U.S. in the year 2019. Opiate addiction. It's really, you got you got scissors, you got paper, you got rock, but how are you going to achieve anything when you're laying in bed craving opioids?
Nah, see, it still doesn't beat rock.
Yeah, I could smash an opiate. I could smash an opiate addict with a rock so fast.
Jesus Christ.
Do you guys think that me, an opiate addict, any opiate addict, versus me with a rock? Can you imagine? There's no way I lose.
What the fuck are you talking? No, that's absolutely not true.
Arnold Schwarzenegger becomes an opiate addict. I have a rock. I still am gonna win, no matter how tough he is. Jet Li, I have a rock, and you're addicted to opiates, man. You're so tired.
Man, I don't know that you fully understand what opiate addiction is.
Anyway, Arceus looks like a weird horse with a steering wheel in the middle of its body, and it appears and it starts shooting meteors at everybody.
It shows up. There's nobody around it. It's in the middle of the sky, but it's still shouting psychically. It says, "Prepare for justice!" But it's not moving its mouth. It's speaking psychically. Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
There's no one.
Sheena... well, so first of all, he hallucinates that this Damos dude is there. He's like, Damos? And everyone's like, what? You're just staring at an empty platform. But Sheena runs up and she's like, hey, I'll give you your jewel back. Here's your jewel. And she hands him the jewel of life that she's been guarding for all these years. And it's like, cool. He takes it and the movie's over. Yeah. He goes back to the center of the universe. He recreates life and everyone's fine.
Saw some action. Things got exciting. This is a movie, start to finish.
Cool. So we have some voicemails and... Oh, wait, no, that's not what happens. He smashes it with his fucking sharp hoof and he says, this is the jewel of life? If it was part of me, it couldn't be destroyed. He
and start shooting fire at everybody.
Yeah. And Sheena's like, damn it. I believed that this was real.
Yeah, she sincerely didn't know it was a fake. She wasn't trying to pull anything.
And she starts trying to cast her spell at Arceus, but Arceus knocks her down and it goes, ah! Like, it's okay, I have a new candidate for worst Pokemon noise. It's like, ah!
It's like me trying to lift something very heavy. Ah!
like a rock.
Like I think I'm surprising somebody that I don't like if I'm jumping out from behind a corner at some jerk, I'd be like, ah!
That's how he sounds, and he does it a lot, and it sucks. And I hated it. I wrote in my notes, it sucks.
You guys,
period.
Dialga, that's what we're seeing here, right? Yes?
Well, we're looking at Arceus.
So Arceus sounds like a straight-up nerd. He really does sound like the nerd in your high school class. It's just like, fucking justice. You know?
I want justice.
If this were the real life gem, it could be destroyed. Jewel of life, sorry. Jewel of life, it couldn't be destroyed, actually.
Actually, Justice, I could smash this thing with my little hoof,
it's
Justice.
not the real kind.
This sounds a lot like me. Just an arrogant little nerd.
Dialga and Palkia show up to defend the humans, but they can't hurt Arceus.
Because he's got too many of those power-up cards.
He's got too many power-ups. So Ash says, look, there's two gods fighting God in front of us, and they're failing. But Pikachu, I bet if you use Thunderbolt on God, it'll be fine.
Yeah, hey, Pikachu, you should pick a fight with this thing.
And it works. Weirdly. He shoots Arceus, and it works because we know the 5 plates he doesn't have are ground, grass, dragon, water, and electricity. So it actually, like, does something, and then Giratina shows up and gets in the fight, and then Dialga freaks out and sends everyone to the past.
Yeah, it's just they are about to die.
Yeah.
And
Arceus is about to throw a meteor at their faces.
So Sheena keeps picking up some sort of signal from Dialga. She's seeing the way that Dialga is looking at her and saying, "No, he's trying to tell me something.
On me.
I don't see it. I didn't pick it up. I can't read that thing's face."
Right, it just looks like a weird robot dog or something.
She looked into its heart, and
she was like,
and
"I think he's into me."
He was saying, "You got to go back in time,"
and he sends him back in time. And they disappear. All of the important guys. Brock, Dawn, Ash, Pikachu, Sheena. Ooh. Who's that left behind?
Seems like maybe there's a reason they named you Kevin, bud.
I'm sorry, bud. You're just hanging back, buddy. Kevin, I'm so sorry this happened to you.
It's one guy. It's one person.
So sorry, Kev.
What a dick move, like, just by the writers to this character, Kev. Why did you even put him there?
Why'd you even make him? Kev, your existence is so tragic. I'm sorry they made you, bud.
That's all right. He's joining our fan fiction, so.
Yeah, don't worry, Kev. You're here with Newton Graceland and Pokemon Hunter and Hot Dog Robot,
Muscle Mullet
Guy, and Kevin.
Oh.
And I'm Kevin.
Guys, can you imagine making a movie with all of those characters together?
Yes, absolutely.
It'd be like, what's that fucking movie where all the old bad comedians take a road trip on motorcycles?
Roadhogs.
Roadhogs. like Roadhogs, only it's all these characters from the Pokemon movies that we have to get this
Hot dog machine on a hog on a motorcycle.
Kevin just leaning over Hot Dog Robot, and Hot Dog Robot is just feeding him endless hot dogs.
He's got a good picture of like Hot Dog Robot on a motorcycle while Kevin has his arms like wrapped behind. Wrapped around Hot Dog Robot.
I love you, Hot Dog Robot. Me, Kevin.
All right, folks, you heard it. Our weekly art request is any combination of Kevin and the other characters that we've put into this. What's shaping up to be a very engaging fan fiction.
Look, if somebody writes a fan fiction that is all these characters and just like a movie about all these characters together, we will read that.
Assign parts.
We won't just read that. We will assign parts. We know actors. We will bring actors in. We will record full audio drama of.
I know very professional actors. I know some comedians with some names that might be into doing that. And
let's not make any big promises.
No, I'm making it. I will get a legitimately famous person. I will get a person that's been on the Tonight Show.
I will get Patton Oswalt to come onto our podcast personally and read.
All right, yeah.
If somebody writes like a 90-page script,
I'll get Tim and Eric.
That is Muscle Mullet Guy, Pokemon Hunter, Kevin, Hot Dog Robot.
I'll get Jerry Seinfeld to do it.
Newton Graceland. And there's a scene where Brock tongue kisses an Onix. Or just any Pokemon. He can tongue kiss any Pokemon. I always expected it to be an Onix, but he can tongue kiss any Pokemon. Then we will make it with famous people.
You heard it here first, folks.
I promise.
Please make it good.
It has to be good. It has to be clever. It has to be funny. It has to be original. We won't accept anything better.
Well,
at least.
And I promise.
I don't think per Matt's rules it actually has to be good. I'm just saying.
But I promise.
Please.
So anyway, they all go back in time. So clearly Ash is that dude that they were talking about. They're like, oh, you're just like the guy from the legend. But clearly he is the guy from the legend. He's the fucking chosen one because Ash is always the chosen one in every fucking scenario, and he sucks.
In this case, he makes himself the chosen one.
If you guys make Ash the chosen one in that screenplay we're talking about, I won't make...
Nixed. Yeah.
It's done.
Make him die.
No. He doesn't deserve to die. You
can have him be the judge.
You can have him tackle somebody, but like...
Make him try to tackle someone and miss and fall off the side of a building.
So, we see... Oh! What do we see? The scene again where Damus is supposed to give Arceus the jewel, and instead he sneakily sneaks it away, and then has a bunch of Pokemon attack Arceus and drop a chandelier on him in the end.
That's it. And then there's the shaking of the building puts our heroes in danger, so they
start falling to their deaths.
They request to be transported further back in time.
Dialga, send us back even further!
We have 10 minutes of this movie where they're sent back in time just to watch this scene that we've already seen.
Yeah.
And then they're just sent further back in time to prevent that scene from happening.
Don't worry, we've seen the scene twice, Pat. It won't happen one or two more times.
So they go back, what, 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah, they go back like...
First leap is 1,000 years. Second leap is less than an hour.
And they end up in the middle of the town square. Well, for a second we see the present where all the gods are fighting and Team Rocket fall in the water and Jessie has some scepter or some shit from
She picks up the scepter that we found out the real gem of life, jewel of life, was hidden in.
Boring. Boring. And then the gang are in the middle of the ruins, and a Heatran and some guards surround them.
Yeah, remember, this is 1,000 years and 1 hour ago.
This weird guy with this like red hair that's all up in spikes and a crazy like tiara on shows up, and he's like, "Who are you guys?" And then a Bronzong.
Oh my god.
Yes.
My new favorite Pokemon. This is so if you've ever seen samurai, like a picture of an old samurai, picture the armor that's on his torso, like waist up. That's this Pokemon. It's a floating torso piece of samurai armor, and it sounds like Richard Mull
when it says
Bronzo. He's like a musical theater actor.
So he's a bell, is what he is. He's like a hanging bell. And he hypnotizes people. He's a hanging bell that hypnotizes all of our heroes. And Sheena is like, "Yo, here's what's going on," and tells tiara-wearing man all about it. She tells him the movie so far.
Yeah, he's dressed like an emperor, so you know this is the guy that's in charge.
He's dressed like the emperor in Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah,
with the crazy headdress and everything.
I've never seen a real emperor, so.
And we see a Pichu watching, and he's getting upset for some reason. We don't understand why. So they grab Pikachu and Piplup, and they put them in a sack, and they throw them into like an oubliette that's filled with Pokemon.
Yeah, a little Pokemon prison. Is not very secure.
Which makes me wonder, hey guys, is this that time before there was harmony between people and Pokemon?
Ooh. Oh, that's a good point.
Is this the time that's going to be alluded to in Detective Pikachu?
Because they're all enslaved from here on out. They've all got these like special old tiny leather harnesses on that.
Yeah,
force them into doing bidding.
Oh, hey, that's a good point. They have these special old-timey mind control devices. You know, like they had in old times.
Are they mind controlled? See, I thought they were just like, you know, when you put like one of those choker chains on a dog to keep it from pulling the leash, and it's a thing that kind of tightens, and they just know it's there, so they don't.
Oh, so you're saying they have remote controlled pain-inducing devices on?
No, it's not remote controlled. It's like a dog training tool that you use. That when they pull on the leash, they get it's like the leash tightens on them. It's just like a simple knot.
No Pokemon have leashes attached to them. So what you're saying is either they are just psychologically reminded, Pavlovian style, reminded of the times that they were tortured with the device.
Yes, that's
that
exactly what I'm saying.
Wearing that device, they're too scared to do anything but follow orders.
Yeah,
even though the device isn't attached to anything.
Yes.
Okay. Or you were saying it's remote controlled, but that's not what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying. You didn't need to present the other option.
Nah, I think these are mind control devices.
All
That's
right.
what I believe they are. Anyway.
That's fair. If you want to sound like an idiot about
Boys.
Pokemon movies,
Boys.
then you go ahead and keep...
Boys.
What?
Easy.
Fine, you talk about it,
No.
Ashley. So, that Pichu we saw sneaks into Pikachu's cell, makes friends with Pikachu, electrocutes Piplup.
Piplup's a great name, by the way. Have I mentioned how much I like the name Piplup?
Piplup.
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 It's a cute little name.
Uh,
I'm gonna make my
we got that
my
out.
new pet Piplup, whatever it is.
Our gang, our friends, Dawn, Brock, Ash. Sheena gets invited to dinner with the headdress man, with the Emperor.
yeah.
Our three homies get locked in like this Bronze Age prison cell, and they
Bronze
meet.
Age.
They meet Damos, the guy from the
Their last time travel.
Yeah, the guy from their last time travel, and the guy
The
from the legend.
Yes.
The guy
But-
that betrays Arceus.
Don't worry, he's not going to flash back and show us the exact same scene that we've already seen described. And yeah, he's not going to do that.
He can't, because it's an hour before that happens.
So he won't show us anything we've already seen. Oh, wait, here he goes. Here he goes, showing us for fucking 10 minutes.
Easily.
10 minutes! He shows us the exact same thing we already know that happens. Like, Arceus blasts a hole Arceus saves the town from meteors.
Okay.
And he... What?
And the infuriating part is the last time we had to go through this story, it was just somebody standing there talking about
right.
Yeah. This
Like,
time we're actually seeing it, and somehow it's more boring.
So this movie was what, an hour and a half long?
Yeah.
If it were described once, and then we saw it one time,
Mm-hmm.
this movie could have been 45 minutes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this was an episode of the TV show that they stretched out into.
It's amazing.
There's so many lines of dialogue that are like Sheena will say, "Oh yeah, Arceus is coming here to how did he perform it? Bring humans to justice." And then Dawn would say, "What? Did you say justice?" And then Sheena would say, "Yes, justice." And I think if you took all of those 3-line exchanges out where a person ends a word with a sentence, the next person says, "Did you just end that sentence with this word?"
Yes.
And the original person says, "Yes, that
That's
word."
exactly what I was going to bring up. Every time they were like,
you'll chop off another 15 minutes of this damn movie.
they're like, yeah, I can, absorb his energy. His energy? Yeah, from Pokemon. Pokemon?
Yeah.
That's the god Pokemon, Arceus.
Arceus?
Arceus? Yes, that's the Pokemon Arceus. Arceus is a Pokemon? Yes, Arceus is
A
a
Pokemon?
Pokemon, and he's God.
God?
He's God, but he's a Pokemon?
Did you just walk
So-
walk into the other room? You just walked into the other room?
Like,
Yes, I
waiting for
did.
Godot.
So they tell Damos about whatever they saw. They're like, you betrayed Arceus, and Deimos is like, no, Marcus is pretending to be me, and he betrayed Arceus, and how do you guys know that? And Ash is like, we're from the future, look! And he shows him his Pokeballs.
He shows him a Pokeball.
And then we cut to Sheena trying to tell Marcus what happens over a very large dinner table.
They're eating Pokemon.
You think so?
They must be.
I have
There's
a
meat on that table.
So there's meat on the table. There's also we cut to a man yelling at Pokemon that are making food. There's a
there's the onion looking guy chopping onions.
Well, yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. So there's
oh my god, is he chopping up his own his sister?
So there's the fire guy lighting a fire, right? And then there is a Chikorita who looks like a root vegetable, and it's chopping up what appear to be root vegetables.
No.
Is Chikorita chopping up dead Chikorita?
Jesus Christ.
No.
I mean, it was very reluctant to chop the food, and I assumed it was just like I'm tired of
I don't want to chop anymore.
Chopping onions, but yeah, that thing's an onion.
We've had this discussion before, though, right? Like, there's other food in Pokemon World.
Well, Ashley, apparently not.
Not meat. Anytime you see them eat meat.
All vegetables are Pokemon. All meat is
Pokemon.
all animals are Pokemon. So all meat and all vegetables must be Pokemon. They're eating fucking Pokemon. And they're making Pokemon prepare Pokemon to be eaten.
I don't agree.
So
Sheena is explaining to the Emperor, like, look, Deimos is gonna betray you and try to kill Arceus. I can't. These words are insane.
You can't believe what you're saying.
Meanwhile, Ash, Brock, and Dawn are in the jail cell explaining to Deimos that he betrays it, and Deimos is just like, "No, I wouldn't do that. That's not me.
That's not me." And you couldn't have possibly been describing this story for a third time or fourth time, could you?
Let me recap just in case. But no, he just says, like, no, I wouldn't do that. And they take him at his word. They just watched him do it.
Yeah. And they're like,
but they're like,
right.
oh, no, that checks out.
Yeah. And then there's the flashback to him helping. Oh, God, it's so long and boring. And then we cut to the present, which is an obnoxious nonsense thing to say. Okay. Here should have been our indicator that these people, the writers of this movie, did not quite understand what they were dealing with time travel. Because, all right, if you're time traveling, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not moving forward through time at the same pace as the people in the present who you've left behind. It's not like you time travel back 100 years and live an hour, and during that hour, an hour passes in the present, right?
I don't know. I've never time traveled.
So it keeps cutting back to the present as if it's happening at the same time.
Yeah.
That's not happening at the same time. It's 1,000 years ago and 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Anyway, Giratina's fighting Arceus. It's boring. In the past, Pikachu and Pichu find a key and they free all the homies.
They have a little Pikachu adventure short again.
They decided to stop doing Pikachu shorts, so they just do them during the movie.
Yeah. They get the key and show up in the prison cell to rescue everybody.
And apparently Pichu is best friends with Deimos.
Yeah, they're each other's friends. They call the Pokemon magical creatures too,
which is more accurate than pocket
Monster.
monsters.
But that also makes me think, because Ash is like, oh, well, we call them Pokemon, and let me show you this, and whips out the Pokeball. Did they not call them Pokemon before the Pokeballs? Because they wouldn't have
been in pockets.
They wouldn't have been in pockets, yeah, which is the source.
Before that, they called them Magicry.
Yeah. Okay.
Magicry, gotta catch 'em all.
Gotta see them all.
Gotta see them all. Magicries. So, I don't know. What happens? Marcus sets Sheena up to betray Arceus. This is all so boring.
Yeah.
Instead of it being Marcus dressed up like Damos, which is what we figure happens, setting up Arceus to be shot by 1,000 Pokemon, he sends Sheena out to give Arceus an empty scepter that doesn't have the Jewel of Life in it and get shot by 1,000 Pokemon, and then they drop silver water on it.
Yeah, so as Brock and Ash explained that Bronzo is hypnotic and must have hypnotized him into
Bronzo the Magician.
tricking Arceus and betraying him, when really it was Marcus the Emperor who owns this Bronzo and had him do Marcus's bidding. And so keep in mind, this all is before they started altering everything that happened in the past. Sheena's attempts to explain this to Marcus to stop it actually backfire on her, because Marcus is like, now I know what we need to do to kill this thing and prevent it from coming back in 1,000 years. Which, problem solved.
Problem solved. Yeah, okay, so here is where you realize this movie doesn't mean shit. This whole thing is about, 1,000 years ago, Arceus showed up, gave Damos some things to make the world pretty.
Gave him the Jewel of Life, which was his actual life.
Went away. On bad terms, but went away. Went to sleep. Came back, was going to destroy a temple and 5 humans. They got shot to the past. Now, if Arceus dies, the universe doesn't end. The 5 humans don't die.
Sheena and Kevin aren't cursed to guard the ruins for 1,000 years.
Everything should be fucking fine.
Yeah.
But somehow we're supposed to be invested in saving this Arceus.
Stakes are very low here.
And after 2 movies where the stakes were literally like the universe could destroy itself.
Yeah. We're still dealing with universe destroying gods. It's just our choices now. We can all be fine and this guy's dead, or we can all be fine and this guy stays alive, but it's going to take us a little longer.
And we might die in the process.
And we might die. Or, we'll just hop back in time another 20 minutes and...
Yeah, if they'd failed, could they have just yelled, Dialga! Redo!
Yeah. They don't run into their past selves. They go back. We come to the scene where Arceus is back at the temple to collect the Jewel of Life for the first time again, and gets betrayed by Marcus and an unwitting Sheena.
God, and they're hiding outside of the car in the drive-thru, and they're watching Biff kiss their mom.
Yeah, well, yeah, that.
This is
I'm letting it go. I'm just saying they should have run into their past future selves at this point.
There will be so many worse moments in the logic of time travel. Anyway,
we'll touch on all of them, don't worry.
Sheena almost dies. Marcus, no. Damos saves her.
Yeah.
And then they do a spell together and they connect with their hearts or whatever that shit is.
And they realize they're ancestors.
I just care so little about this.
Yeah.
The silver water's flooding in and trapping Arceus.
It's like silver water, aka cement. that's coming.
Yeah, wet cement.
What's the
Wet
name?
cement. They
Quick
call
dry.
it silver water,
Quick dry.
but really it's
Yeah,
cement
hardens.
with glitter in it.
Yeah.
Um,
And Arceus just gives up. He's like, this sucks. My friends, I guess, associate let me down here, and now everybody's attacking me.
associate
and I'm
guy
getting
I
covered in
met
cement.
once.
Yeah, he gives up. He's still filled with rage.
But he's like, I'll just let myself get drowned in cement.
Yeah. And while he's going down, he's just like, these motherfuckers.
Yeah. Oh, justice. Justice. Brock saves them. That's written down here. Silver water almost hits Damos and Sheena, but Brock jumps in front of him and saves him with his pseudo Woodo.
Yeah, there's a bunch of we're gonna skip over these because this just got boring as hell. But there's a lot of very small, life-threatening moments that are quickly averted.
Ash finds Marcus, and he says, "Hey, give us that jewel back."
Which works.
He's about to fucking tackle you guys. He's staring at Marcus. We're staring at him. Is it gonna happen? You bet your fucking ass it happens. It doesn't only happen once. It happens once. He fucking fails. A bunch of Pokemon show up to save him or whatever. And then it doesn't matter because it's boring. And then he does it again.
It's really the first time he does it, he runs up and tries to tackle Marcus. And Marcus just like, without using the rest of his body, just takes one arm to brush him aside and is like, leave me alone.
Stop it. Are
And
you
Ash is,
tackling me? You're a child.
But then Ash does it again and manages to shake the orb loose, and it falls over an edge, and Ash base jumps off the edge.
So Ash, okay. So Ash tackles this man twice, eventually gets him to drop the Jewel of Life.
Mm-hmm.
It falls down this yawning chasm, and Ash, being Ash, leaps off without a plan. Just dives into...
Literally head first.
This kid has jumped into chasms and voids and holes so often, he just doesn't even think about it anymore. Yeah. He doesn't think, I could fall to my death here. He's just like, oop, another hole to jump in. And he dives in.
Perfect form.
And this is a kid who can't even climb a set of stairs without falling off.
Literally ever.
He dives off, perfect form, grabs a chunk of wood that's sticking out from the side of the cliff that's on the sides of this hole, spins around, grabs the falling Jewel of Life with his feet
between his sneakers,
and then tosses it to Pikachu, who catches it on his head. Cool, dude. Cool. I guess you're an expert level gymnast now. You couldn't... Last movie, you fell off a stair.
He's to get back up to where they were, he's just hopping from piece of wood sticking out of the side of a ledge to piece of wood.
Sometimes when Ash gets surprised, he falls over by just standing still. He's standing up still, somebody surprises him, and he falls on his face. This guy is like the fucking... who's in it? What's the name of an Olympic gymnast?
Carrie Strug.
He's the new Carrie Strug over here.
Carrie Strug never did that. That shit was nuts. Don't watch this movie, but go to the end and just watch Ash make this catch. I don't think we can do it justice. It's insane.
We missed a moment where when a bunch of Pokemon saved Ash from whatever, Bronzong and Heatran or whatever, suddenly a Rattata appears, says Rattata, and then turns into 10 Rattata.
Yeah, that was wild.
Why did that happen? Ashley?
Ashley, we're asking you.
So while Ash is doing this crazy shit, Sheena and Damos are trying to convince the Pokemon to chill out. Ash runs down, tries to hand the Jewel of Life to Arceus, and Arceus is like, no! And he's like, take it! And Arceus is like, no, I won't!
I'm gonna die here in the cement!
I don't even want it anymore!
No, is he...
And
Is he still
Yeah.
alive, or is he currently kind of like unconscious? That's what I was imagining.
It's hard to tell. His eyes are open,
Right.
and he's angry.
Right.
Yeah, he's still filled with rage.
And Ash is like, you have to take this. You can't leave this world thinking that we betrayed you and you hate us.
No.
I won't let you.
The
Ash,
most selfish
don't know.
reason for not wanting someone to die is because you think they hate you.
Also, Ash, you can't just yell, I won't let you die at somebody and they don't die.
Yes, I mean,
I mean, okay.
can't he?
He can't, I'd say he can't, but he's done it like 8 times so far.
I don't know if you think we've hit some time travel logical quagmires yet.
All right. So, at this point, if you haven't watched the movie, or if you're somehow watching it while we're talking, which would
That would be
crazy
great.
and cool.
It will sync up.
You think
I think we're about a half hour over already.
you can't criticize this movie too much. The rules of time travel aren't important here. It's just a dumb cartoon. They're not addressing the complications and paradoxes that come with time travel. Don't worry about it.
But even you folks wagging your fingers and clicking your tongues at us are not going to be able to handle this next bit.
Because they
It's
okay.
such a logical.
One of the writers
Yes.
started thinking, well, I guess if they time traveled back and Arceus was dying, that would not. They wouldn't have a reason to time travel. So
Yeah, if Arceus dies 1,000 years and 20 minutes in the past, then he's not coming back in the present. So they're not time traveling back to stop him.
they all start disappearing.
So
Yeah.
this is where we realize that these creators have definitely watched Back to the Future several times.
Yeah.
and not understood anything.
I've not really understood how that worked, how time and space actually work.
It is. They start disappearing exactly like Marty
Well,
McFly
yes,
playing the guitar.
correct.
Ashley, they don't need to understand how time and space work because in their minds, time and space are two robot dogs.
It's true.
So one of the characters explains that this is the case because Arceus is about to
Mhm.
die. Then they no longer have a reason to travel back into the past, so they start disappearing. Not from existence, just from having traveled into the past.
But they're acting like they're dying.
But they are in a panic. Also, if you resolve this situation right here, like the only two outcomes at this point are either he doesn't take the Jewel of Life, he dies, you never have to time travel back. He does take the Jewel of Life, he lives, but he doesn't feel the need to rain justice down on humankind.
So, yeah.
You never have to travel back in
So
time.
either way, they're going to disappear.
Doesn't either scenario? Yes, thank you.
There's no reason for them not to disappear.
I'm really mad. Matt was watching the end of the movie with me, and I got very mad.
So
he takes the fucking Jewel of
Right.
Life. He takes the Jewel
Yeah,
of Life.
he
Of
does.
course he takes the Jewel of Life.
Problem
And
solved.
everyone comes back and everyone's saved. And the temple starts collapsing on everyone and Marcus appears to die. And Dialga... Wait, no. What happens? Oh, Arceus saves everybody.
Yeah, he suspends all of the debris falling down, and I guess just gives everyone enough time to get out of the way.
And he takes all the mind control harnesses off the 1,000 Pokemon that tried to kill him.
Yeah.
And then disappears. And then all our heroes disappear. And they come back to the present.
But this time when they disappear, they're like, don't worry, we're disappearing, but it's a good thing this time.
And Damos is like, just like an anime character does.
Yeah.
He stares off into the middle distance and is like, there's things to think about.
He looks off into the distance and he goes, huh, the future. And that's it. That's his closing line.
So, we're in the present. All our people come back, and the writers of this movie have already made us think about the paradox of, if you saved the day back in 1,000 years ago, then none of this would have ever happened. Arceus would have never come back, who would have never been mad, because he would have never been betrayed, and he would have the Jewel of Life already. So he would never have been missing those plates, so he would have never destroyed the shrine, so he would have never gotten tired, he never would have slept 1,000 years. But when they get back to the present, Arceus has just beat up everybody. Everyone's beaten up.
And he's still going.
And he's still freaking out. And he's still yelling, I need to bring you to justice.
And then he sees Ash. He's about to kill Ash, but then makes eye contact and is like, what? And I guess the effects of time travel were just a moment behind here.
But also we take a zoom inside his eye. Yes. And
what the fuck was that?
Apparently, his memories are literal files.
Yeah.
They're actual literal computer files that
like a digital distortion.
Yeah, that he went through.
Yeah, it's like he's viewing a bunch of computer files, but his processor's a little slow.
And so he's like, oh wait, I remember. You're actually my friend, and I'm not angry about any of this.
Oh, I remember. None of this happened ever.
Yeah.
And then he makes some clouds part, and everything comes back to life. Like, okay, so they get back to the present, and this is what should be the case, right? The world should be a wasteland, or at least the area around Machina City should be a wasteland, because the Jewel of Life left it. So they fucked up. Marcus was trying to save Machina City from becoming a wasteland.
Yeah. Because that's what it was prior to the Jewel of Life. The Jewel of Life made the land fertile. And
so when they came back, it should have been a wasteland. But instead, after Arceus realizes, like fucking Wile E. Coyote running off of a cliff and finally realizing that he has no ground below him, once he realizes that time has been changed and none of this has been true to begin with, everything starts coming to life. And it doesn't make any sense. And somebody says, like, it's Arceus. And he's like, well, since you didn't have the Jewel of Life, all the people banded together and tilled the land and made the world beautiful.
He's still got the villain, but he's everybody's friend now, but he's still got a cartoon Batman villain voice.
And he was like, this wasn't me. This was all of the people. Okay, bye. And he flies away. And Sheena and Kevin are reunited, and they make out or something, and Brock is upset.
Brock is dead. I thought they were siblings this whole time.
That's what I thought too.
I mean, they might be. Who knows?
And then all the gods disappear. They go home to sleep. It's time for all the gods to go to bed. Yeah. It's time for all the gods to rest their heads. It's like the new Good Night Moon. Good night, space. Good night, time. Good night, reverse world. Good night, God. And then they find a picture of themselves in hieroglyphs. Okay. They're surprised to find their own adventure in the past saved in hieroglyphs, including Ash with Pikachu zapping whoever. But when they approached Ash and Brock and Dawn, they were like, you're the thunder... That's the thunder creature and the thunder master. They already knew that Ash was in the prophecy or whatever. Why are they surprised? None of this makes any sense, and I'm...
You can tell we're true podcasters because we get so mad about the inconsistencies of time travel in a movie.
Anyway, I guess this is actually when Arceus leaves, because he's like, hey, your world is actually pretty cool. And Ash is like, yep, alright, bye, God.
They all are just on these, again, I don't know how they end up here at the end of every movie, but they are standing in a perfect line at the edge of a cliff
While the sun sets,
waving goodbye to all the gods.
Right, yeah.
And then once they stop, they all just stare. They get a very solemn look on their face. They stare at the sun as it sets.
And it's like, dudes, this has happened to you 100 times.
Also, just don't stare at the sun.
Times. And also don't stare at the sun. Who are you, Donald Trump? The end.
Yeah. That's it.
In the credits, we find out that Marcus survived and Damos enslaved him.
Oh.
We see all the other movies. We see like a little wrap up to all the other movies in this trilogy. Like we see Darkrai staring out at stuff. And we see Newton Graceland, our best friend, visiting Zero in prison.
Yeah, it's nice. It seems like he's like Zero is kind of turning a new leaf.
We see Shaman. He's got a new little sex garden. Yeah. And we see our heroes just like traveling like they do at the end of every movie. We're done.
We find out that coming up next on Cartoon Network, Jumanji.
Yeah,
is
on
Friday. The next Friday.
Around and watched Jumanji.
The next Friday, Jumanji will be airing on Cartoon Network in whatever this.
It's not a cartoon.
It's not really a kid movie either, is it?
Jumanji? I think that's a kid's movie.
Jumanji's a kid's movie.
It's not like a movie for 3-year-olds, but
all right.
It's a movie for 7-year-olds.
Yeah, I think it's PG, right?
Is it PG? Okay, I thought it was kind of scary. I haven't seen it for a very long time.
It is not above a PG rating. I am sure of that.
It's a movie.
Jumanji, the movie with Robin Williams, where jungle animals pop out of a board game.
It would be a G, but one of the kids shits themselves.
Maybe it's because I watched it later in life and I wasn't allowed to watch it as a kid, and I kind of snuck it at a friend's house. So maybe that's why I'm like, it's not for kids.
You weren't allowed. Yeah, Jumanji is straight up little.
I was not allowed to watch a lot of things growing up.
Would you have been allowed to watch the Pokemon movie where they say that God is a horse with a steering wheel in its body?
That's the thing. I think Pokemon would have been, had I been young enough. My mom didn't know anything about Pokemon, so that's how I got into Pokemon at a young age, because she didn't know shit about it. But anything to do with magical things, and God being a Pokemon probably wouldn't have flown.
Yeah, I'm sure polytheism wouldn't have gone over very well.
Guys, I want to do something.
Is it listen to voicemails?
Yeah, before we rate the movies, which we have to do, and I know God.
I don't remember any of these. It's been too long. We shouldn't have taken that time off.
I know it's gotten to be the worst, but let's listen to a voicemail before we do that.
Okay.
We have a Well, hold on. Let's do this. Ashley, we have a voicemail line. What's that number?
It is 607 323-7168. If you couldn't hear that, that was 607-323-7168.
Let's listen to this voicemail.
Hi, the very worst. This is Nopeface from the internet. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I was just curious. Your show's great. Great job. Been listening since the first episode. I was just wondering, if you were forced by an evil genie to be a Pokemon for the rest of your life, which Pokemon would you choose, and why? Thank you. Bye.
I hate when they end with "and why," because you think it's going to be an easy question and nobody's going to follow up.
It would just be like, Cubone next.
Yeah. God, not cute. That's the saddest one.
Yeah, your mother's dead.
It's wearing his mother's skull.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, no thanks, right?
I guess probably one of the ones that's just like a huge. Well, Mewtwo.
A Mewtwo.
Because I'm kind of just like, I have arms and legs, mind powers. I'm a Batman.
Right.
You got an attitude problem.
I got an attitude problem.
You wax about philosophy a lot.
I can make shields when Ash tries to punch me.
Ooh, that's an important one, because in this world, Ash is probably going to try to punch you at one point or another.
Or Klefki, because I can unlock any door.
God, I hate you then.
Is that true? Is that...
No.
I'm not a fan of you anymore. Sorry.
I guess I'd be Mewtwo. I'm very powerful, and I'm just kind of like a cat dude.
Aw.
How about you, Ashley?
I don't know. I think Eevee, because there's several different choices of evolving.
And isn't that just like life? You never know what path it's going to take you, so you always want to have choices.
I'm extremely...
You never know if you want to major in water, or fire, or electricity.
Right. I mean, I'm very indecisive.
Or dark.
But I mean, I'd have to ponder. Even though I heard this voicemail weeks ago, and I had time to ponder over this, and actually, I was sorry to take it aside for a second, but I actually picked up the phone when I got this phone call. I was like, "Hello," and Google Voice was like, to leave a voicemail. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I just hung up on it, and then it called back, and I'm like, hello?
It's okay. We warned people this would happen.
And I hung up again. Thank you for leaving the voicemail, actually, because I know it was probably a pain being hung up on twice. So thank you for sticking through. Being hung up on.
And her answer is Eevee, which she just thought of a second ago. So good job sticking it through.
Thank you for asking the question that I had so much time to think about and didn't until just now.
How about you, Pat?
I don't know. Everybody thinks I would say Psyduck, but that's not true. Psyduck has constant headaches. That's why it's such a wacky guy, is because it just constantly has a paralyzing migraine. So, no thanks.
No thank you. Thank you next.
This is Pat's new catchphrase.
Yes.
No thanks. Hey, Pat, why don't you try and be a Celebi?
Celebi? Oh yeah, maybe. No thanks. That's actually not a bad one. That would be a bad
you can
option.
travel through time and shit. Why don't you be a shaman?
Oh,
No, I think it would probably
Jirachi.
be like a Munchlax or a Snorlax.
Ew.
Oh,
I think I would like to just kick back and either eat a whole bunch. I love eating, or sleep a whole bunch. I also love sleeping.
Maybe I'll be the sexy Pokemon. The sexy one.
Which one?
What's the one that starts with a G? You guys know this one.
Gardevoir.
Thank you.
Giratina. Sexy ass Giratina.
Gardevoir, or maybe like Lucario.
So every single episode, we rank the movies.
I forgot we have to do
all
this.
the movies we've seen so far, from best to worst. I'll start this time.
Cool.
All right, 9. Jesus, how many movies
How many
are
have
there?
we seen?
I think
20?
this was 12.
80?
This is 12 or 13.
We've seen 42 movies.
So, number 42. No, number 1 is Celebi's Nasty Nest. Number 2, Lucario. Number 3. I don't know. What was the last? Oh, Darkrai.
Oh.
Number 4.
Whoa, that's number 3 for you?
Number 4, Spell of the Unknown. Number 5. I don't remember any of the movies. Jirachi Witchmaker. Number 6. Fuck, I usually have a list in front of me. Number 6. Mewtwo Strikes Back. Number 7. The first movie. Number 8. Pokemon Ranger. Number 9.
Damn, Matt, this list is wild.
I'm just literally trying to remember.
You're just saying them as they pop into your head.
I know. This isn't good.
All right, I'll show you. You'll
Show me how it's done.
Number 1, Celebi.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Oh my god.
I think Spell of the Unknown. Number 3.
What?
Jirachi Wishmaker. Number 4. Pokemon Ranger.
Okay.
Number 5. Shit.
I pulled up a
Dark.
list.
Okay.
Number 1, Celebi. Number 2, number 2, Lucario. Number 3,
Lucario. Because what we should do is just do them all at the same time.
No,
Number 5, Lucario.
three,
You keep going.
Darkrai.
Ashley, you get started.
Ashley, you start.
Number 6,
what-
I would
number
say
one,
probably
Celebi,
Mewtwo
number
Strikes
two,
Back.
Sky
I
Warrior.
would
Jirachi,
say
Number
three,
5,
Lucario,
7
number 4,
Destiny
Ranger,
Deoxys.
number 5, Darkrai,
yeah, actually
number
probably
6,
Number
Destiny
8,
Deoxys,
number
Madison.
8, I think I'd say. Well, I already did
Latios
Spell the Unknown.
and
Number 8 would be.
Number 8
Number
would probably be Pokemon, the
8,
first
I think it's gonna
movie.
be-
Also,
I know my bottom 3.
number
my last
8,
one
I'm
is,
probably going to do that TV movie, the
Pokemon
second
2000.
TV
Number
movie.
8
What was
is
that
going
called?
to be
Master
the
my
one we
Mirage
just saw.
second
Pokemon.
to last
Number
one.
The
9,
name was
I do
the
Destiny
Jewel of
Deoxys.
My
Life.
4th one.
Number
Whatever
10,
Pokemon
I'm going to do
rewatched,
Pokemon.
I'm going to put it second to
that
last.
one's where
Probably
Pokemon
gonna
Mewtwo
be-
returns.
And then
Number
I
11
think I
are
just have
Pokemon
9 and 10.
Heroes.
What am I
Maybe
missing?
Pokemon
Destiny Deoxys.
2000.
I'll
Well,
put it
Number
number
10 is
9.
going to be...
And
Oh, number
10
12 is this
Shoot,
one.
I
Number
really-
12 is
10, I
Arceus
would
and the Jewel of
say-
Life.
Did I say Darkrai?
whatever. Oh yeah, I didn't include this one.
I'm
so
going to
I'm
move
gonna put this one.
Giratina
Ten
up
is
a
gonna
little bit.
I'm gonna put this one right in the
be-
middle.
Giratina,
Darn
I'm
it,
going
I
to move up
remember
to
all
like
the others.
Giratina,
7,
for
and then
instance.
so
I'll put
Arceus
Giratina
was
at
13.
9.
Oh, right.
And I only need one more,
the-
which is
the,
Pokemon movie
And
2000.
I think that's
When we
it.
saw previous to this one. I'm not done yet, guys.
Yeah, no, finish up. We took some time at the top.
Okay, great. So, number 10 is going to be the one I saw in Japanese. Which one was that?
That was Giratina and the Sky Warrior?
Yeah, that one. Oh shit. Number 11 would be maybe 2000. What am I missing? Number 12
You're missing
is 1.
3 more. There's 14.
There's 14.
Yeah, because 12 and then the 2 TV movies. Did you do
in...
Mewtwo Returns?
Oh, Mewtwo Returns. Okay, that's going to be 7 then.
Okay.
And then move all that down. So now I'm on what, 13? I'm on 13? Am I on
Yeah.
13?
Did you Pokemon Heroes? Ladius and Latios?
Yeah, I did that one.
Okay.
Did you include this one? I forgot to include
Yeah, I
the
did.
one we just watched.
Yes.
I put this one at like this third from the bottom.
Yeah, me too. It was like really
I
low.
put mine
was
right
about
around the
10.
middle. I think it was like 8.
Guys, and all the rest. And then
Yeah, all
one
the-
and then one's at the bottom.
What was your number 1? I didn't catch that. Something else was going on when you said it.
I accidentally said Celebi because you said Celebi, but
Yes,
it's actually
hell yes. It's
No,
too late. You
no,
gotta wait another week and then you have a
no,
new number 1.
No, it's Jirachi, and then 2
Nope,
is Celebi.
It's Celebi.
And then 3 is
next
Entei.
week it'll be different. Okay, so next... okay, first, guys, you can reach out to... leave us a review. Leave us a... We're sorry we missed so many weeks. We
I'm
won't
not.
do that again.
I'm not.
If we might
Don't
miss
apologize for me.
We might miss a week here or there every now and then, but we will not miss 3 Tuesdays in a row ever
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
That was unexcusable on the 3 of us.
We do have to. Please reach out to us on social media. If you say hi to us, we will shout you out on the podcast because we are just desperate for attention. We love interaction with human beings.
Yeah.
We do owe a shout out to our friend Alvaro, who, just like the person who left the voicemail, has, I believe, been a listener since episode 1.
Right.
Also, Alvaro texted me a short while ago, and I'm realizing now I never got back to him. So, Alvaro, please remind me to text you if you're listening.
Yeah, reach out to us on social media. Leave us a voicemail. Review us on iTunes. Refer us to your friends. Next Tuesday, we will be watching Zoroark, Master of Illusions.
What?
Okay.
So stick around for that. And we're at the end of the podcast, and I just realized it's been so long. I meant to, in that time, come up with like an ending catchphrase to say at the
Okay.
end of like at the outro.
How about thank you next? Does it not work? Is it some
Thank you next.
thank you
Good night
next?
and good luck.
I
could sing L is
no,
for the
no, no,
Lucari-
no, no,
Yo
no,
boy. Okay.
no.
Yeah, let's just go with thank you next. I think that's a
Thank
that's
you
a fine
next.
one. Should we all say it together?
Okay,
Yeah, I guess
ready?
so.
One,
All right.
two,
One,
three.
2, 3.
Bye.
Bye.